Hey guys, MotorCarNut here, and today we're going to be addressing an issue. A lot of GM cars, GMC and GM trucks and pickup trucks is you have like a clicking when you're turning or when you're going over bumps. I mean, some of that is normal linkage play, but like when you're driving and you go over the bumps and you hear something clicking and clanking, okay? I'm going to tell you what that is. It's a common problem. I don't know why. It's most cars, but GM, it's even more so. Okay, it's what we got is the steering rack. Okay, it goes down right through the firewall. We go up in here. You can see the rack right there coming in. There's a bearing there, and there's also a bearing in the rack, but those rarely go bad. All right, so what I'm trying to say is that from the steering column through the firewall, you're probably good unless it has high miles, used off-road seriously, and then that can be, and then now it comes down, you see it right there? That's the shaft. Now the bottom of that shaft is the lower steering shaft. Now that steering shaft has a slide and with a little boot on it, looks like a shock. And for the reason is that because the steering column is stationary and the steering rack is on a suspension, okay? Unless it's the recirculating ball type that's on the frame, but still, either way, there's going to be movement, okay, in the suspension, and it has to move a little bit. So what's happening is that shaft, it freezes up and stays as if it was a solid piece. If it feels like a solid piece, every little bump is going to transmit right into the steering, and you're going to feel it. So when I get on the bottom, I'll show you exactly. Here, it's right down there. It's that part over there. I'll show you a little bit more. I don't know if we can see it. In this particular car, it's really hard to see up here, so I'm going to lift it up and then I'll show you. Okay, here we are on the bottom, and like most cars, it's going to have a splash shield here. Well, I'm working on a GMC Canyon, Colorado, but you have the splash shield there. You take that out on this particular models, and you can get to it, but you got the C-Series, you got any other type of truck. You usually have a lot of access this way. Okay, now, this one has a broken boot. Here's the shaft I'm talking about. See the shaft? Here's the other one. This connects to the steering rack on this side, and this side has a shaft that slides in. And what I was saying before is that the steering rack is connected to the frame. I'm sorry, not the suspension. And the flex of the truck with the frame and the body, it flexes a little bit. So what they do to compensate so you don't feel it inside in the steering wheel, they give you this little slip joint. Okay, and it moves in and out. So two things can happen when you have that clunking noise over bumps or when you're turning a little bit. And I'm not talking about CV joint. I have videos on that of what a CV joint noise sounds like. This is different. Let's put this out a little bit. And two things can happen. It can seize up and act like a solid rod. So when you go over a bump, you're going to figure what in the world's going on. And then with this one, it has excessive play. All right. So if I grab this, just like this, and wiggle it, all right, it's got play. It's not supposed to have all the play. You can't really see it. But that's what you feel. Go over a bump. You hear that? You hear this? That noise, and that's what that is. A lot of people think it's a suspension. Although the suspension can mimic that, you really don't feel too much inside on the steering wheel as you do with this type of thing that's connected directly to the steering wheel. All right? So that's the noise. And how you take this out, this video is not about that, but being that I'm here, I can explain it to you. All right? What you want to do is you want to keep the steering wheel straight. Make sure the wheels are straight, because when you disconnect the shaft, all right, the steering wheel can turn, and there's a clock spring in there. It's basically like it's like a tape that has electrical on it. And let's say if you spun it one whole complete revolution and you weren't aware of it, all right, and now you put everything back, and now you go to make a turn, and it rips it out because it's not where it's supposed to be. Okay, I have videos on how to do clock springs too on different vehicles. You can watch that. But easy thing to do: keep the wheel straight, keep the steering wheel straight, lock the steering wheel. Maybe you can do it with you know, a bar, or just, you know, with the steering lock so it doesn't keep turning. Okay, then you're going to take this bolt out right here, 13 millimeter. Lube it up a little bit, maybe, you know, hit it with a hammer so it can slide out a little bit better. And on this one over here, that bolt right there, 13 millimeter, you lube it up again, like I said, and you can get a crowbar or underneath and like hit it out. That's the hardest part, getting it out, but you can get it out. All right. And once you get it out, you put the new one in the same exact way. And before you like I said, make sure the wheels are straight away. And then what you do, on the steering rack, the pinion over there, mark the rack and the pinion itself. All right, so don't move. Well, as far as the shaft, you're gonna have a new one, so it doesn't matter if you mark it or not. Let me zoom this in a little more. Okay, so you mark, see the little bit of the darker rusted part? That's the shaft. Mark that and the base of the steering rack so you know where, so it doesn't move. And then what you do is when you slide this back on, it only goes one way. It's going to have a flat keyway. It's not a spline. You go inside the vehicle, make sure it's exactly how you left. You have it when you pulled it off. Put the new one back on, and just make sure those don't move. The marks I just told you about. You slide the back one on, bottom one on. You tighten those bolts, and you're done. And you just reverse the the removal procedure. You put your splash panel back, and now when you go over the bumps, it's going to be a normal sounding truck, and you won't have to worry about it. All right, guys, MotorCarNut, please subscribe, hit the like button. Any questions on the video, leave them below. I answer all my questions, try to help everybody out, get them back on the road, and I appreciate all the feedback. And if this helps you out, I would appreciate a super thanks as well. Keep the channel going. All right, guys, see you in the next video. Thank you very much.